Ever had your life flip upside down because somebody in a pantsuit decided they wanted what you had? Yeah, well, let me tell you about the night I realized you're never really safe, not when greed's involved, and certainly not when power finds a loophole. I promise you're not going to believe what happened to me up on Hargraves Ridge. But hell, I barely believe it myself, and I lived every jaw-clenching, pulse-pounding second of it. So picture this. It's 3:50 a.m., pitch black except for the lazy blink of stars above the Rockies and the kind of cold that seeps into your bones if you linger. Suddenly my landline screams out of nowhere. Not my cell, my old landline. The sort of call you only get if someone's dead missing or planning to make your morning memorable for all the wrong reasons. My body moved before my mind did, training from search and rescue days kicking in. I snatched the phone already halfway into my boots. Hargraves, I grunt, throat dry, heart thumping. What do I get? This is Karen Weldon, president of Summit Crest Homeowners Association. I need the keys to your gate and all your farm buildings immediately. Just like that. No preamble, no sorry to wake you, just pure bureaucratic ice. I actually had to check if I was dreaming. Who in their right mind calls a man at 4 in the damn morning demanding keys to a property that sits a solid mile outside their HOA bubble? My place is 600 acres of hard-won inherited mountain land. Nobody's backyard but mine. Excuse me, I ask, squinting into the darkness, convinced maybe I'd misheard. You heard me, she snaps. This is an emergency safety inspection. We've received reports of suspicious activity. Immediate access is required. I almost laughed. Lady, I think you've got the wrong number. My land isn't part of any HOA and it's 4 a.m. Try business hours if you want to play hall monitor. Don't you dare hang up on me. She barks, voice sharpening. If you refuse to cooperate, I'll send our security patrol up there and we'll take what we need for the safety of our community. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't concern for neighbors or a wellness check. This was a raid cloaked in the language of authority coming straight for my front gate. Now, I'd heard about Karen Weldon, her and her wild-eyed crusade to protect Summit Crest. Word was she'd been eyeing my mineral springs for months. Folks down in the valley had already started muttering about the greater good, how maybe resources up here should be shared. My property, my water, suddenly wasn't just mine anymore, at least in her mind. I cinched my boots, feeling the anger bubble up. You're threatening to break into my place because of mystery reports. The safety of Summit Crest is not my problem. She doubled down. Your isolated location makes you a target. Drug operations, vagrants, who knows what could be happening up there. We have every right to ensure the security of our community. I nearly choked. I've spent over a decade pulling lost hikers out of blizzards, sometimes at risk of my own skin. And here I was being accused of harboring a criminal underworld because I liked my privacy. Here's the thing about mountain people. Most of us aren't looking for trouble. But we sure know how to finish it. Here's what's going to happen, I said, strapping on my gear. You're going to hang up, forget this call, and never try this again. If anyone steps foot on my property without a warrant signed by a real judge, they'll meet an armed landowner who knows his rights. And I hope you're recording this call because I sure as hell am. Silence, just the crackle of her breathing. Then she lowered her voice, cold as the grave. You have no idea who you're dealing with, Mr. Hargraves. We'll be there within the hour. When she hung up, I just stood there, the kind of quiet after an earthquake, realizing my morning was about to get biblical. I snapped into action. Old habits, tactical pants, boots, fleece jacket that melts into shadows, service radio, mag light, and my Remington loaded, but safety on. Didn't want to shoot anyone, but you never want to look unprepared either. I grabbed my night vision and a camera with a zoom lens. If they wanted a show, I'd document every second for the sheriff and whatever judge they tried to bamboozle. Out the back, I saw headlights, 2 black SUVs with Summit Crest logos glaring under my floodlights, engines idling like guard dogs. 6 figures, high-vis vests, pretending to be a road crew maybe, but you don't see a lot of highway repairs at 4 a.m. in these parts. I watched from the pines, heart steady now, letting the old adrenaline take over. One of them worked my gate with a lockpick pro, not amateur. That gate wasn't just for show steel, reinforced GPS, tracked motion sensors, all of it, thanks to my late father's paranoia, which now felt a lot more like wisdom. And there she was, Karen herself, climbing out of the lead SUV, expensive jacket, and that in charge stance you only see on people who've never actually been in charge of anything dangerous. She barked orders, pointing at my fences and barns, running the operation like a field general on a power trip. That's when I called Dave Martinez on my service radio, old friend county cop, the only lawman in these parts who understood the difference between a recluse and a criminal. Dave, you there? I got 6 folks trying to breach my property. One's got lockpicks, got photos, need backup. Jesus, Liam, sit tight 15 minutes. Document everything, but don't get in their faces. 15 minutes. Could have been an eternity. I watched the lockpicker struggle. Karen get angrier. 2 others circle my fence like they were casing a bank. So I let them know the mountain was awake. Hit the floodlights. 6 military-grade beams lit up the world like midday. They froze, deer in headlights style, blinking in the harsh white. Good morning, trespassers. I boomed through a bullhorn still tucked behind the tree line. You're being recorded. Law enforcement is en route. Leave now. Karen, never missing a beat, stormed into the spotlight, hands on hips. This is an official HOA inspection, reports of illegal activity. I laughed, couldn't help it. Show me your warrant, I shouted back. One legal document, just one that gives you the right to be here. I don't need a warrant from some hillbilly hermit. This community's authority supersedes your property rights. And just like that, she admitted to conspiracy, illegal trespass. All of it on tape. I had to hand it to her. If you're going to go down, might as well go all in. That's when the twist hit. A white sedan rolled up behind the SUVs looking all official, like it just got lost on the way to a county meeting. A man in a uniform badge radio portfolio walked up, handed papers to Karen. She waved them at my gate like a magic wand. We have official authorization. This is your final opportunity to comply. Now here's the part where life goes from bad sitcom to pure thriller. That inspector was Thomas Riley. Or at least his uniform said so. Thing is, I'd worked with Riley. 3 years back, we handled a rescue together, good man by the book. Except, Riley died 18 months ago, car accident, closed casket funeral. I was a pallbearer. So either the dead rise in county uniforms, or Karen just handed me the smoking gun of her entire little operation. I played along. Let me see that paperwork I called faking surrender. Karen shoved it under the gate. I kept my rifle visible but low, walking up, slow reading every line. It looked good, official seals, signatures, clauses about emergency inspections, but the name at the bottom, the signature, the badge number, all Riley. Dead men don't sign orders, last I checked. This is very official looking, I said loud enough for everyone to hear. Tell me, Inspector, how long you been working with Riley? The fake inspector went pale. Well, we coordinate with county, that's funny. I cut him off because Riley's been dead 18 months. Want to explain how he signed this? Silence. The kind that crackles. Karen's mask slipped. Crew started backing toward their cars. You can't call him the fake. Inspector stammered. You're right. Because he's dead. I was done playing. That's when Dave's patrol car crested the ridge lights, flashing red and blue through the trees. Karen's crew panicked. Some tried for their SUVs. One looked ready to make a run for the woods. But Dave's seen it all. Nobody's leaving until we sort this out, he barked. I need IDs from everyone. Let's see those documents. Dave's backup officer snapped photos of every face, every license plate. Karen tried to argue, spinning the same line about community safety, but Dave shut her down. What you've got here is a crew using forged government documents and a man impersonating a dead county official. Multiple felonies. You're all under arrest. Finally, Karen cracked, voice trembling. This land should benefit the community. Families are suffering. But her real motive was clear as daylight: resource theft painted over with a coat of public service. And then the real cherry on top, the fake inspector broke down. She hired us. We're private security from Denver. She said it was a civil dispute, said the paperwork was real. We didn't know about the dead guy. Karen spun on him, hissing. Shut your mouth, idiot, but it was over. Dave found surveying gear, soil, and water testing kits. Turns out they'd come to map and sample my land planning to take it for their luxury spa project. The safety inspection was a front for grand larceny. By sunrise, Karen and her crew were in cuffs. But just when I thought the nightmare was over, Dave's radio crackled again. FB, I wanted in. Karen's scam was bigger than a single HOA president on a power trip. We're talking federal conspiracy, dozens of properties, millions laundered through shell companies, even county officials in their pockets. Within hours, my peaceful mountainside was crawling with federal agents. Files from Karen's office revealed everything: fake documents for 47 properties, surveillance reports, plans called Operation Mountain Sweep, and chilling references to elimination strategies for uncooperative owners. 2 neighbors, both ruled as accident victims, were suddenly back on the board as possible homicides. Karen's gang had their fingerprints on everything. They traced millions funneled in from offshore accounts, all tied to a web of real estate developers with big dreams and no morals. And right at the center, my Springs, the cleanest water for 50 Miles centerpiece for their planned $50 million resort. The worst part, they'd mapped every inch of my land, plotted out buildings, golf courses, even calculated accident scenarios to eliminate holdouts. I wasn't just lucky, I was almost their next target. The investigation snowballed, local judges on the Take County inspectors, falsifying reports, assessors inflating taxes to squeeze landowners. For a while, it felt like the only people on my side were the feds and the damn wildlife. When the trial came, it was a circus. Federal courthouse in Denver, jam-packed with reporters, lawyers, and families of other victims. Karen stripped of her fancy clothes and Power sat behind glass, the mask finally off. Prosecutor laid it all out. The fake inspections, the planned murders, the money. They played the recording of Karen threatening me, walked the jury through every lie and every crime. Her crew crumbled. The inspector turned state's witness, detailing every plot, every intimidation attempt, even how they sabotaged climbing gear to cause accidents. The evidence was a tidal wave. Financial records, surveillance, topographical maps with fatal accident sites marked in red. The jury took less than 4 hours to convict. Sentencing day was something else. Judge didn't sugarcoat it, life in federal prison for Karen, decades for her cronies, every dime seized and paid out to the victims. And Summit Crest HOA dissolved, forbidden from ever enforcing anything beyond their actual boundaries. As Karen was led away, she shot me a look I'll never forget, a cocktail of rage, regret, and the realization that the world she'd built had just collapsed. The aftermath, well, let's just say life got complicated. The property became famous, journalists called, security got tighter, and I had to accept federal witness protection for a while. But in a twist nobody saw coming, I found love in the ashes. Maria Martinez, the FBI agent who ran point on my case. She left the bureau, we got married right there on the land. Karen tried to steal, and now we run a training center for rural landowners, teaching folks how to protect what's theirs from predators in fancy suits. The springs still flow cleaner than ever. The only thing Karen built was a cautionary tale, one that echoes through every acre of this valley. You see, the real lesson here isn't just about fences or legal papers. It's about how fragile the line is between power and corruption, and how ordinary people, quiet, stubborn, a little bit crazy, can take a stand and change everything. And that's why I sit here on this porch, shotgun propped against the rail, wife teaching self-defense to ranchers out back, and wonder how many other Karens are out there scheming in the dark, convinced the world owes them whatever they can grab. Where's the line between community and conquest, law and lawlessness? Who decides? So tell me, have you ever had to fight for what was yours? Where do you draw your line? Drop your stories below, or let me know, who do you trust to stand watch when the world goes quiet and power comes knocking at your door?